and sense the flow of Ma Ganga. And let yourself be purified by the presence of Ma Ganga. And sensing that spark of inspiration, that fire, that presence of Agni or Jatavedas, the all-knowing essence that is expressing through you. Sense that presence. And feel the air, this beautiful, slightly cool breeze on your skin. This air that we all share. Your inhale was somebody else's exhale, or it was the tree's exhale. Your exhale, the tree's inhale. And feel for a moment this collaborative existence that we are a part of. All of us sharing this space. This place that we call home. Feeling all the ways you've been nourished by this home. Recognizing this extraordinary privilege, the gift of life. The gift of love. The gift really of this human life, human. To be infused with with light, human life. Caretakers of Mother Earth, the indigenous tribes understood this sacred relationship between humans and the environment. We yogis understand this sacred relationship that we have with our Mother Earth. And this is our topic for today. This relationship we have with our Mother Earth. As you're ready, feel free to open your eyes. So we're here at the heart of the festival in many ways, or maybe we're the bridge here between the head and the heart. If the Arti ceremony is like the heart of the festival, we're here and we're as Gyan yogis for a moment, and we're tuning ourselves into some of the philosophical underpinnings of yoga, what it means to take yoga off the mat, what it means to live yoga. All the classes we're doing, all the experiences we are having within the festival are so important as a way to cleanse, to purify ourselves, to raise our cellular energy, to raise our capacities, our vitality, our vibrancy, to help to clarify and purify our minds. And here we are now to look at, okay, we can do that on the mat. We can work hard and we can find these transcendent experiences that take us out of the field of suffering into the experience of openness, possibility. And yet so often when we get off the mat and we go out into our lives and something triggers us, we become forgetful. So as we go through this panel today, I'd really like us to be alert to all the insights that will come on how to not be in the state of forgetfulness, but to be holding that continuum of awareness of our role here and just how much of a difference each and every one of us can make in this sacred relationship with Mother Earth. So my name's Kia Miller, and I'm one of the teachers here at the Yoga Festival. And I'm really honored to host this beautiful gathering. So the first person I'd like to introduce is sadly not here with us today for some personal reasons that came up at the very last minute. But her presence is always felt at this festival, and I think for all of us who have activism at the very heart or who have an awareness of our sacred relationship of life. And that is Vandana Shiva. I'm sure many of you have heard of her. Please raise your hand if you know who Vandana Shiva is and her impact in the world of activism. Beautiful. Yes. She's a world-renowned environmentalist and activist. She's the founder of Navdanya, a national movement to protect the diversity and integrity of living resources. Seeds are a big part of her passion, heirloom seeds, as are the promotion of organic farming and fair trade. Her accolades are enormous. She's written some very powerful and poignant books. She's been recognized as an environmental hero by Times Magazine and many other positions and seats of influence that she holds. So we're sad to not have her in person, yet her spirit is here with us, and her words have profoundly impacted all of us, as I'm sure they have you. So we have a little clip from Vandana Shiva that we could listen to right now, which is her message to all of us.
I cannot join personally because of the crisis I am facing today. The festival has always been a very special time. I've looked forward to it. Just being to all of you who have gathered at the Yoga Festival. My greetings to Swamiji, to all of you who have gathered.
We'll restart it, you guys, don't worry.
Swamiji and Sadhvi Bhagawati.
इसको फिर से शुरू कर दो भैया.
Because of the crisis I you who have gathered at the yoga festival. My greetings to Swamiji and Sadhvi Bhagawati.
इसको
I am so sorry I
इसको
cannot join you
बालाजी
personally
एक मिनट इसको
because
पॉज कर लीजिएगा भैया साउंड जो है ऊपर कर दीजिएगा जब साउंड ठीक है तो फिर इसको दोबारा शुरू करते हैं ना
which is like all of us, our mother. To all of you who have gathered at the yoga festival, my greetings to Swamiji and Sadhvi Bhagawati. I am so sorry I cannot join you personally because of the crisis I am facing today. The festival has always been a very special time. I've looked forward to it. Just being on the banks of to all of you who have gathered at the yoga festival. My greetings to Swamiji and Sadhvi Bhagawati. I am so sorry I cannot join you personally because of the crisis I am facing today. The festival has always been a very special time. I've looked forward to it. Just being on the banks of the Ganga, which is like all of us, our mother. Being with all of you as community to regenerate our spirits, to regenerate our energies. Once again, my apologies that I'm not with you. I'm with you in my heart. I'm with you in my spirit. Have a very, very good festival.
She is one of the, in the way I've perceived her, one of the most fierce and courageous women that I've ever met. It takes a lot to really have the courage to speak some of the hard truths that are so visible and yet so often not spoken to. So grateful that she sent us that beautiful message. So for this panel here, we have, of course, our beloved Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati ji, renowned spiritual leader, motivational speaker, and the author of the book that please do pick up if you haven't already. In fact, they're both in the back there. Her latest best-selling, Hollywood to the Himalayas. It's a fantastic book. And if you were looking for a way to ignite your own devotion to the path, please read her book. I felt my heart just burst with devotion as I was reading it because her devotion comes through so strongly in every page. And then also by His grace, by God's grace, her first book that she wrote about Swamiji, and the stories in there are phenomenal if you want to get an understanding of the being who is behind this Swamiji. It's stunning. So, welcome. To her right is the beloved Reverend Michael Beckwith. Welcome. Founder and spiritual director of the Agape International Spiritual Center, based in Los Angeles, author, life speaker, and the founder of a visionary process that I think is actually essential for all of us at this time, learning how to rewire our brains for success, for possibility to break free of the karmic, the karmas that bind us in this life, perhaps I should say. It's so important, the work that you're doing. And I'm so excited to speak to you on this panel. Welcome. And to Sadhviji's left, we have Abuelo Antonio Oxte. Welcome from Mexico. I see your fan club is here in the house. He's a Mayan elder from Mexico. He's it's a very exciting time because in my understanding these teachings of the Mayan elders are coming forth now at this time with more visibility perhaps than ever before and more relevant than ever before, and they so beautifully parallel the yogic teachings, the Vedic teachings. So welcome, Abuelo. So nice to have you here. And to his left, we have Acharya Saul David Raye, teacher, healer, musician, activist. Saul and I actually go back many, many years as we've shared the small town of Los Angeles. And I've known Saul as not just an Acharya, a teacher through that time, but as an activist. And again, he's always been somebody who has been prepared to speak on some of the more challenging topics that relate to all of us as an activist, as somebody who lives from his heart in life and teaches from that place of heart-centered consciousness. Welcome, Saul. So to begin this this discussion, I'd actually love to start with you, Reverend Michael, if I may, because this is personal to me and I hope very relevant to all of you, because Michael, it was something that you said at the last festival in 2020 that set the stage for me for the entire last 3 years. And he spoke to this idea of not trying to save the world, but to serve the emerging paradigm. That was a way that we could create harmony at this time. So I would love if you could speak to that, Reverend Michael, in this context of the Mother Earth.
Absolutely. Thank you for putting me first. First of all, it's an honor and a joy to be here, and I'm grateful to Sadhvi and our beloved spiritual teacher that has pulled this all together. It's my joy to be here with you. And someone once asked me, can these teachings, can these yogic practices, can these affirmative prayers, can these deep meditations and all the work that we do, can they save the world? And I said, why do you want to save this world? Why do you want to save the world of appearances that's fraught with bigotry and racism and greed and pseudo-power and all manner of things that are creating the condition for so much crisis that's happening on the planet? Why do you want to save that world? What we really want to do is serve that which is emerging. We want to serve the emerging paradigm, the universal presence called by millions of names, who birthed the multidimensional cosmos, multidimensional universe, is progressive. It's always moving forward. It's infinite, so it's always moving forward. And our role is to be in alignment with that thrust, that movement of unfoldment and evolution. Evolution is the extension of the presence and form. Unfoldment is the perfect idea becoming visible. That we actually want to serve that which is emerging, which means that we have to put ourselves in a position to be in alignment with the idea that's not touched by time or space, the idea, and allow that idea to use us, to express through us, to sing through us, to dance through us, to move us into sacred activism when necessary, so that we're not being burnt out by trying to change the world or save the world. And of course, we have to define the world, but that's another conversation. But we're actually being pulled by something that's invigorating us, something that's giving us a tremendous amount of energy. Because if we're trying to just save the world as it is, we will be burned out angry activists. But if in fact we're being pulled by a vision of what's possible, that which is emerging, then we're fueled. And we're also become instruments of articulating that which is trying to happen in the realm of infinite possibility. rather than just throw stones at that which isn't working. Now, of course, we do have to articulate with that which isn't working. I'm not saying we don't do that. But if we do that more than articulate and move in the direction of what's trying to emerge, then we deplete ourselves. So the idea of serving something that's emerging, you know, we don't want to be upset at the cocoon, but we want to serve the butterfly that's coming forward. You know, we love the acorn, but we love that it gives birth to an oak tree. So I believe that there's something trying to happen, and through our practices, we're able to intuit it and feel it and sense it, and then ultimately live that frequency while we're in our sacred activism, while we're acting. One of the things, I don't know how long you want me to speak, but
However long.
one of the things that I say often is every problem is a question trying to ask itself. And every question is an answer trying to reveal itself. And every answer is an action or a way of life that's trying to birth itself. So the problems that we're facing is pulling us to ask a question, you know, and those questions are, what's trying to be born here? What is the possibility of us midwifing a different world? We begin to ask those questions, and by law, the answers will come in a language in a way that we can understand, and then it will compel us into action. We will have to take action, but not just trying to solve a problem, because problems are dissolved in a higher state of consciousness. We become the living answer even before we can see it. That is what, to me, means to serve in the emerging paradigm. Yeah.
So beautiful, Michael. Thank you. Ooh, this is electrifying me. It's okay. It's fine. I'll hold it further down. Or up. Oh. It was actually electrifying me. I was touching the metal. No, but that's electrifying me also. Sadhvi ji, I would actually love to ask you your perception of what Reverend Michael Beckwith was speaking of too, from your deep study of the Vedic culture and all the work that you're doing in serving in very practical and real ways Mother Earth and her inhabitants.
It's a very special and very beautiful opportunity that we're given. A lot of people ask some variety of question that sounds like, you people are spiritual people. You're connected to God. You're full of faith. You're full of connection to the divine. Why do you work so much? Like, how is it that you can simultaneously be full of faith and devotion and connection to that which is perfect, and simultaneously be spending the number of hours every day that you are in seemingly rectifying imperfect situations by, for example, building schools for poor kids who don't have schools, centers for women of empowerment and upliftment and training, cleaning water, planting trees, working to abate climate change? Like, how do these things go together? If you've got faith and connection to that which is perfect, well, so isn't air pollution and water pollution and poverty and illness part of that perfection? So you get a lot of questions like that. And I see it really as actually just a beautiful opportunity for expansion, because the question exists only on the myth that we can only live on one plane of existence simultaneously. If we can only live in a physical plane and we see problems, hunger, poverty, illiteracy, climate change, discrimination, injustice, etc., then yeah, it's far from perfect. On what level, in what illusion is a child dying of starvation perfect? And then we shift to another level. I don't want to call it higher or better or deeper. We'll just call it another level of existence in which there is no hunger, there is no poverty, there is no injustice, there is none of that, because this whole aspect of form is illusory. In the way that if you look, for example, at a wave on the ocean, well, the highest truth of the wave at any point is ocean. Right? The form may be a wave. You can look and say, yeah, that's a wave. But at any point, if you take a spoonful, a dropperful of wave, and you look at it under a microscope, what is it? It's ocean. And in the same way, each of us, in whatever form we are in, whatever role we are playing in this particular scene act of this cosmic divine drama, what we call Leela, is like the wave. Ultimately, at the core, we're ocean, divinity, consciousness, source, spirit. So on that level, there is no problem. As Reverend Michael was saying, you transcend, problems dissolve when you shift. And the physical body is not an illusion, like an optical illusion. It's just a different level of existence. And on this beautiful, exquisite level, there is suffering. And we are called upon, because we have physical bodies that have physical arms and hands and legs and brains that can be creative and intuit and implement and innovate and feel compassion. We are called upon to serve. And it's not either or, it's yes and. It's an expansion of, yes, I am anchored in the connection to that which is perfect. And I am anchored into this perfect, extraordinary, physical, although very temporary, constantly changing experience that we call a body, that we call this physical plane. And on that plane, I've been given a role, a critical role. In the Vedic tradition, we call that our dharma. And that role is to serve. To serve, to act. The word karma literally means action. Karma yoga is action rooted in yoga, rooted in awareness of union. So a connection with the perfect divine does not on any level preclude us from responding to the physical world. We smell beautiful flowers. We look at the beautiful Mother Ganga. We listen to and create beautiful music and art. We touch each other. We love the way that touch feels. We interact with this physical existence with love and excitement, connection, awareness, attention, intention. But we don't get lost in thinking that that's all there is. And the only other point that I would mention for right now about this is that anybody who's got faith in whatever your religion may be or your path may be, anybody who has faith in a perfection of spirit, soul, divinity, creator, consciousness has to realize it's not perfection minus you. That's where the confusion comes in. If we say, well, if everything is perfect, why do I have to do anything? Well, because if you don't, then it's no longer perfect. You are an inextricable part of the perfection of the creation, which includes you responding in whatever way your role unfolds as to that which is existing here. And so if we stop engaging in action, perfection is no longer perfect. So it's critical to remember every one of us is a perfect part of the perfection of the divine.
Thank you so much, Sadhvi ji. Thank you, both of you. What a great way to begin this journey of understanding, of greater understanding here. So I'd like to turn next to our beautiful Abuelo and just, the Mayan people had so much wisdom to share and such an understanding on the different levels of consciousness that we exist in, and also this idea of walking harmoniously in life. So please share your thoughts with us, Abuelo.
Well, to begin, I have to say thanks for all this divine light that I am perceiving since I came to India, and very special here in Rishikesh, Parmat, Niketan. It is a vortex of energy, divine energy. Mother Ganga, the sacred water running and teaching how we need to flow. It doesn't matter the obstacles of the life, but we need to flow. This is one that I perceive with all my heart. Help me to open my heart and say thanks, because this is the soul reunion that the planet is really having through our brothers and sisters, the Swami, and my master. She's a master. Since I saw her eyes, I saw the bright of the stars. And in that moment, action, love, immediately, the pure love. So I am walking this world, learning, and at the same time bringing this to the Mayan people, because it's time to know that after 25,650 years, our mother, our planet, is entering in a huge system of peace and harmony. So all the cells, all the divine molecules, the divine energies of each alive beings that we are this moment in this planet, we are having this amazing energy to open consciousness and to take care to Mother Earth. Of course, we are doing already this because we respect Mother Earth, respect the spirit of the waters, the fire, the air, and this is love, consciousness love. But now, I'm going to begin putting attention who I am. in this dimension at this moment. At this moment, I am a grain of salt of Mother Earth. I am a drop of that waters. I am a drop of light of the sun power, of the fire. I am an instant of the air, the spirit of the air. So when I know that I am Mother Earth, so I need to love myself, to take care about my divine temple, the matter, to be in peace and harmony. And through that, I learn to respect myself, and at the same time, I'm respecting the others. But all of us, we need to respect this sacred planet that is the beautiful garden, the heaven. So it's necessary to open consciousness and love and respect. The water that we have in the kitchen, we never have to leave running the water or in the shower. We need to respect. And we need to save some energies of water because there are some brothers and sisters, families living in the desert that they don't have water, and we are throwing water. That is consciousness to practice. We are oneness, and we need to share all that the Mother Earth is giving us. It's the same with our presence. We need to respect the others to our presence. Clean the house, clean the mind, clean the words, and clean the intention to find somebody in my path, in my road, and it doesn't matter if they know or not, we need to bless them. It's necessary that we start to bless because we are here, and this is the school of love. Yoga, it means that we are learning through the movements of our body how to connect with our spirit. But it's not just for us, it's to share with the animals, with the trees, with the elements, with whole the planet, and including all our system. The next step for humanity, it is connect with our families from outside. So for me, it's necessary to really love. Love, it means I am in peace. I have no problems with nobody. Even I know that in this dimension exists everything about the test to know who I am. And when we are flowing in the peace and the love, so we are children of God. And the sacred divine presence of Diva, Shiva, Krishna, and all the avatars, the divinities that exist in this planet, of course, they are blessing us every moment. So we are in peace, we are healthy, we are happy, and it's necessary to pay Mother Earth, planting a seed, planting flowers, planting herbs, planting trees, wherever you are. If you walk in a place and you see a plant that is dry, please, instead that you drink the water, throw it some water. This is help. This is action. This is loving action, serving the others. Thank you very much, and I hope that love make the presence where we are going to be walking and sharing that our masters are sharing with us, teaching us, and this is for me the most important. Practice charity with the action of love. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abuelo. So much wisdom, so many layers, right, to everything that he just shared, alerting us to the multidimensional experience that this life is. When we get caught up in our problems, we lose sight of this multidimensional nature of life. And so, thank you. That's so powerful. So going to now our Acharya Saul. As an activist, as a yogi, as a teacher of the philosophy of yoga, I wonder if you could share a little bit from that perspective of how yogic philosophy guides us as yogis to walk this path of harmony in life. And an add-on there also for the activist in us that will want to respond from anger to situations that provoke. How do we use the practices of yoga to respond skillfully to the things that provoke us in life that we feel passionate about?
It's an honor to be here in this place, this amazing gathering, and to be up here with these inspiring beings that everyone here I've received so much from.
But it's really, when I saw I was on this panel, I thought, wow, how lucky to be here. About 5-6 years ago, and it happened even before that, but about 5-6 years ago, I began this process of we're facing right now is that real communication, listening, shravana, right? And shravana means the divine listening, the ears that go to our heart. We can't know everything. And since that moment, that seed that was planted here, I've had the grace to be able to do this at many conferences, and it's always my intention to just bring in whoever I can that has some wisdom on this subject. It may be a scientist, a geologist, it might be some indigenous elders, yogis, because we have to listen to the bigger picture. And even right the opening remarks from Sadhvi Ji and from Reverend Michael immediately just open the consciousness up. Einstein said you cannot fix a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. And that's what we're trying to do. At least, I won't say we, but we are a collective we, right? But so many of the answers that are being put forward to solve the crises that we are in are coming from the same mind that has created those problems. And I think we all understand that intuitively in our hearts. I think we also feel, I don't want to speak for you, but it's just, it's like a feeling I have about my reflection of where we're at. We understand that we're part of a healing journey, the same way that someone, one person, has to, in their life, begin to wake up and deal with the issues that are there, begin to heal the body, the mind. The same way we might understand that we're each on a journey, our own journey in this life. We're on a being who's on her own journey. And I listened to a geologist who works also with the Department of Defense. She's an amazing woman, Carla Johnson, at the Hanuman Festival last year. And she blew everybody's mind talking about planet Earth from 4.67 billion years ago until now. And I can't do that any justice, but it was amazing. But what I want to share with you is that she said there have been 17 ice ages. I Googled it, it says there's only 5, but according to her, there's 17. And 17 corresponding warming periods. She began to eloquently describe this incredible cycle and rhythm and pattern of consciousness through the earth that left us with the awareness that we are part of something bigger. We are on a being who knows what she's doing, whether we like it or not, and we're a part of that. Quantum entanglement in quantum physics is, and I'm just a layman saying this term, it's the idea that a molecule from your throat chakra, your next mantra, can interact with a particle in a star on the edge of the galaxy. We know intuitively that we're interconnected. So to Kia's question, what's missing in my view from the conversation, that the bigger conversation, is the absence of Abuelo Antonio's words. Sadhviji, Reverend Michael, the wisdom of the Vedas, the wisdom of the indigenous people of the earth who understood first and foremost that we are a part of this bigger picture and that we're living on a being who is alive. Before 2010, if you thought about climate change, you were a conspiracy theorist. Do you know what greenwashing is? Greenwashing is where powerful economic interests find ways to I thought he was going to tell me what it was, which I would listen. But it's finding ways to capitalize and commodify what's happening. Now, it's not all bad, but what I want to share with you to think about is, and this is in line with a very important yogic principle of maybe another part of your question, vichara. Okay, vichara is inquiry. Yoga and vichara are synonymous. As yogis, we're invited to really contemplate the world we live in, who we are, what we're doing here. So for a yogi, this process of really reflecting and contemplating from a loving place is very important in all of the things that we face, especially the climate. Because the climate experience that we're having, the environmental crisis, is part of our relation, it's a reflection of our relationship with Mother Earth. We can't live anymore in this imbalanced way. We can't live anymore just taking from the Mother. There's a beautiful prayer in Sanskrit, Bhumi Gayatri, if you know it, just the English says, let us meditate on she who is the Mother, she who gives all and nourishes all. May we learn, may she teach us, how to live in abundance and peace. Yoga is that deep listening that we've been talking about here. It's our reconnection back to the source. And we can't fix it from a place of fear, right? Do we want to create our own lives out of fear or love? Right? So for us to come again into a balance or relationship won't be like it was in the past because we're on a journey. And in my linear mind, I have no idea how we're going to get there. it seems so bloody complicated, all the politics and this and that. But what I feel in my heart when I come here, when I'm with yogis and just people, people care. Like what Abuelo was saying, just those little acts of charity, of love, of kindness, that's how we change this. So I think only healing of the earth through consciousness. We are living in a time as part of a fundamental shift in the consciousness of the planet. With those old limited operating systems of thought and institution, we cannot bring in the real solutions that are necessary. It's just more of the same thing. And so you are the answer, And together we are. And everything we believed, as Gandhi ji said, be the change. I want to just say one last thing. Before the great BC, before COVID, everything that we had been practicing, learning, living, wanting to bring into our world, the teachings that have been affecting us, those things more than ever are important now. Listening to each other, compassion, care, no matter what part of the circle they come from. And that's how we meet as brothers and sisters. It's how we meet as human to human, heart to heart. And together we find a way with answers that are still being brought forth from our DNA. And I think I heard, maybe I got that from Reverend Michael maybe 10 years ago or so. I heard a beautiful talk, and it was a moment to, at least the way I understood it, that we haven't even activated only a part of our DNA, right? And the evolutionary answers and what wants to come forth are still within us. And as we come together, the synergy that brings it forth is tremendous. So it is possible, but we have to do it together, and we can't wait for anyone else to do it.
Thank you, Saul. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Sadhvi ji, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what is just being shared here. Take this one.
As Saul was speaking about peace through consciousness, I was thinking about how many invitations we have, or rather it's not a series of invitations, but it's one uninterrupted, continuous invitation every moment of every day to bring about peace through consciousness. When a lot of us embark on a spiritual path and we start talking about consciousness, it's that which we access in our meditation. It's that which we access as we read or learn in our Gyan Yoga. What does it mean? And we start this process of inquiry. And that's beautiful, and that's exactly how it should be. And ultimately, consciousness is that which flows through us all the time. It's not, here I am on my mat with my eyes closed, chanting a mantra, connected to consciousness. And then I stand up because my sadhana time is over, the alarm has gone, and whatever it may be, 20 minutes, done, check. And now I go into my real life, where I eat and consume and speak and move through the world the way that we do in our real lives. And then at the end of the day, before I sleep, I again close my eyes and I connect to consciousness, and I give myself that spiritual stamp of approval. Those times, whether it's once a day, twice a day, 5 times a day, 6 minutes at a time, 2 hours at a time, whatever it may be, those are the times to remind us, to recharge us. They're not the beginning and the end of our experience of consciousness. They are that which remind us to open the door to the truth of who we are and what the universe is and our relationship with the universe and the possibility of actually living that every moment. And so, for example, to get really on the ground here, when we think about peace through consciousness, here on this plane of existence that is shifting, this Mother Earth, with very real oceans that are rising, very real rivers that are drying, very real flora and fauna who are suffering, very real indigenous people whose lands are being decimated. Simply existing only for a short moment in the unbroken continuum of time does not minimize the critical importance of it. And so even though we know that, as we were speaking before, on this other level of existence, there's no beginning, there's no end, it's just soul. And here we are, right here, right now, where there is suffering and dying and decimation. And we can bring that oneness consciousness, that consciousness of yoga, meaning union, into every minute and every moment of our lives. And we have the opportunity to do it. Sometimes people say, my God, don't, guilt trip me or give me this stress of having to think about it all day long. It's not a stress, it's an opportunity. It's the opportunity to have a spiritual practice all day long. You don't have time to sit on your mat today? Okay, it happens sometimes. But look at this, you've got all day long to bring consciousness into action, to make decision after decision from what you're eating. And yes, of course, veganism is a major component of it, but it's not the only component. Organic, fair trade, local. What we wear. Is it organic? Is it fair trade? Do we know it wasn't made in a sweatshop? Do we know that farmers somewhere in the world don't have cancer because of that which was sprayed on the crops that became the clothes that I'm wearing? Because our mantra is more, 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 cheaper, cheaper, cheaper. Am I living in a way where that oneness that I feel in my meditation, that I feel in my yoga, that I contemplate upon in my vichar, in my study, my swadhyay, aspects of my Gyan Yoga path? Am I able to live that or attempt to live it? We're all practicing. Nobody should feel guilty or shameful about any of it. We're learning, we're unfolding. But it's an opportunity to take every minute of every day, every time you eat, every time you shop, every time you speak and you choose to engage in negative gossip, even the stuff that we say, oh, I didn't mean it, it was just a joke. Well, there's molecules, as Saul was saying, that have come from your throat out into the universe, and even if they don't reach a star in the farthest end of the galaxy, they're certainly reaching the energetic body of the person 3 inches from you. We have this beautiful opportunity to be channels of embodiments of consciousness, peace through consciousness, love through consciousness, every minute of every day. And that's this invitation that we've been given. So as you hear this and your heart opens and you feel, yes, 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 recognize that this is a yes, yes opportunity. Not just to percolate in your mind or in your meditation on the mat, but to actually percolate through every aspect of who you are and every minute of every day.
Thank you, Sadhviji. Thank you. It's so important. It's so important that there's an action call, isn't there? That we can understand what that action call is so that we don't get pulled down by doubt or overwhelm. So thank you. Thank you for that very clear teaching, Sadhviji. Beautiful. And I'd love to hear some more thoughts from Michael Reverend Beckwith.
Thank you. We're called to be the tip of the spear of that which is trying to emerge. So when my brother was saying, first of all, so much has been said here, as you said, on so many levels. You cannot solve the problem at the level of the problem. So we're inviting ourselves to be the tip of the spear of the nonlinear domain, but to be anchored in time and space. Action without vision is chaos, but vision without action is a fantasy. So we're called to catch from the nonlinear domain that which at that level of existence is whole, is complete, it's magnificent, it's timeless, it's not touched by human experience or perception or positionality or opinion. It is what it is. And through our yogic practices, we catch that. It becomes an insight in our awareness. And as we embody it and as we integrate it, we anchor it in thought, word, and action. So we become the actual tip of the spear of bringing the timeless into time. The earth is alive. She's alive. I'm remembering a dear friend of mine who passed a couple of years ago, Malidoma Some, who was a great mystic, a great shaman out of West Africa. And we spent a lot of time together. And brief story about him, he was kidnapped as a kid, that they used to kidnap the African boys and put them in Catholic monasteries and things like that. Once they could change their mind, they would send them back to the village and disempower the communities. So when he was a teenager, he escaped and got back to his village. But he spoke the language, but he didn't understand everything because he had missed his initiation time. The boys were initiated around 11 or 12 years old. And I'm just going to say this very briefly, just so you understand the punchline here. When they go through an initiation, ultimately the end of the initiation is they remember a moment in their mother's womb where they tell the village what their name is and why they've incarnated. And so the shaman of the village channels the baby and says the name and why they have come. So Malidoma Some means a bridger of two worlds. So he was destined to be kidnapped to go into the other world and to understand Western thinking, linear thinking, and things of that particular nature. So as an adult, he goes through his elder initiation. In the elder initiation, he takes the dirt of his village and puts it on his body, and he can't bathe for approximately 30 days. And he goes into states of meditation. After a period of time, he understood the language of the birds, the animals, and then Mother Nature spoke to him. The earth spoke. And she said, "I'm alive, and I've gone into another dimension of possibility. And for those who stay out of fear, who stay connected and in alignment with that which is real, they will pass through this period with greater ease. Those who are separate from Mother Earth, greed, sense of separation, worry, mentally rehearsing worst case scenarios, they'll have a much more difficult time during this period. So we are to be the tip of the spear of the timeless, anchoring that in time with an awareness that Gaia, this planet, is a living being. She is alive. It's not just dirt. The way individuals have treated her, strip mining and making the earth inert so you can't grow anything on it, and the pesticides and all of that. She is a living being. At this time in human history, there's a solution for every issue. And the only thing that's preventing it from emerging is a suppression of consciousness that keeps the old systemic issues of greed and profit running. I don't call it speaking truth to power. I call it speaking truth to pseudo power. It's temporary power. It's force from ego. And so as more and more and more of us are waking up to the aliveness of the earth, the aliveness of the meta level, but not hanging out there. But the question is, how do I bring it to earth? How do I anchor it? That's the inquiry we have to ask. If we ask that question sincerely, we'll get an answer. We may not like the answer because it might create a level of inconvenience in our life. It might change our priorities. It might shift our habits. We might eat differently. We might act differently. We might go into states of forgiveness that we don't want to go into. Everybody's laughing at that, so everybody knows. However, we will bring the eternal into time. And then I have a feeling that when there's enough of us with that deep earnestness and sincerity, then, first of all, life always wins. Love always wins. I'm talking about over the long run. When there's enough of us able to bring that into time, then the prevailing pseudo-powers that are hell-bent on keeping the status quo, there'll be nothing that can stop that vibrational idea from emerging. But it's not going to emerge from outside here. It's going to emerge through us. We are the instruments of it. It's us. When he said you are the answer, that is the truth. It has to happen through and as us. It's not going to be, the second coming is us. That's what the second coming is. It's the community. It's the Sangha. Its second coming is the ability to hold an energy that's impossible to hold by one person. That's us. So when we come together in that dynamic, then there's nothing that can stop that which is trying to emerge, and the pseudo powers will become weaklings in its face. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that in my bones. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Reverend Michael. Thank you so much. So we have just 5 minutes here. Actually, time has flown by. So I just wanted to open up if any of you would like to make any closing remarks here. Saul, and then maybe we could just quickly pass down through to Sadhvi.
I wanted just to pick up on a word that Vandana mentioned in her opening video. Regenerate. And there's a leading environmentalist named Paul Hawken. Some of you may have heard of him. Beautiful, gentle being. And I don't know him that well. I met him a little, but he's married to a friend, student of mine. And he gave me a copy of his book called Regenerate. And the subtitle is something like Healing the Effects of Climate Change in One Generation. And when Reverend Michael was talking about solution, this is very important, because the regenerative farming that Vandana is such a big advocate of. There's a movie called Kiss the Ground. If you haven't seen it, please see it and show it to your kids or the kids, because they're also under attack from so much fear about their future. But this is a beautiful film about the healing power of the earth, and when we start treating her right, how everything begins to heal. And it's the same with the oceans and the rivers. When we stop overtaxing, overusing, overfishing, overpolluting, the divine power, the spirit power, the creative essence does what it does, which is it regenerates. It's the same in our bodies, right? When we stop polluting, we stop all those things we do that make us sick, we begin to heal. And so the regeneration, some of these answers that are here now already are here now already, right? And sometimes they're not maybe in the main window stream of what we're taking in. And the power of regenerate, for a leading environmentalist to say that we could heal, and doesn't mean fix everything that has gone wrong, right? Because that's another thing, is I think we have to discern between the environmental catastrophe that we're in, that's actually happening, but then the narratives that are being given about climate that are rooted in fear. There's a lot to be afraid of, for sure. But fear is no place to go into that from, right? Which is what this whole conversation is about. It's about getting anchored in love. But the power of regeneration is in every cell in our body. Thank you.
Well, we are here in this sacred college. We are pupils learning how to build a divine gem that is Mother Earth. That I did one day with some friends, that we were walking, learning about the old cultures that has the wisdom to understand who we are, who I am. When we went back to the jungle where we live, immediately we start to clean and to plant seeds from over all the countries that we walk. And now we have an amazing jungle after 16 years to be planting seeds with love, sacred plants and flowers and medicines. So for me, I suggest wherever that you live, even in the cities and boxes, plant that you are eating, tomatoes, coyantro. And we are going to understand why we need to eat that we plant. This is a really spiritual practice to transform us in the love of Mother Earth. Thank you, and be happy.
So I want to leave you with a thought from the Bhagavad Gita. There's a beautiful mantra in it in which Krishna is being asked, what should we offer God? What does God want from us? And Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati, tadaham bhaktyupratam ashnami prayatatmanaha. And what it means is a leaf, a flower, a piece of fruit, some water. Whichever of these things is offered to me with love and devotion, I accept it with my love, and therefore, of course, with my blessings. And what I love about that is, aside from the aspect of God loving us and accepting what we offer, is out of 4 options, every one of them is something from the natural world. God loves you more if, or you are more blessed by God if, or the following things are signs that you have been blessed by God. Well, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's made so clear. What does he want? A leaf, a flower, a piece of fruit, some water. And along with that, what it teaches us and reminds us, of course, is that which we offer in our prayer ceremony obviously has to be pure. You're not going to be like, oh, I need some water for my puja. Let me go get it from my unflushed toilet. Or let me go get it from my sewer. You're going to obviously choose pure, clean water. You're not going to take a rotten, moldy apple and offer it in your temple. And so what it reminds us is that we absolutely must keep this earth clean and pure, because it is that which has been given to us by the divine, and it is that which the divine wants us to offer back with our love. And lastly, as a Bhagavad Gita teaching of what Reverend Michael was saying so beautifully in terms of us being the ones. So in one part of the Gita, Krishna says, wherever, whenever darkness is overpowering light, unrighteousness is overpowering righteousness, evil is overpowering good, I incarnate in form to bring back light to the darkness, to bring back righteousness to the unrighteousness. And then throughout the scriptures we are told in so many verses, so many ways, I am in every single being, every aspect of creation. Which means, when you take those 2 teachings together, we are that presence of the divine who has incarnated in form to bring back light to the darkness, to bring back righteousness to the unrighteousness. That is all of our highest dharma and highest purpose and highest gift.
Thank you. So that's all we have time for here today. So, closing word, maybe a closing word, closing prayer from Dr. Michael.
Let's turn within for a moment. As we remove our attention from the world of appearances for a moment, and get a real sense of our oneness with the power and the presence and the love and the intelligence that is everywhere in its fullness. Omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, omniactive. Our very life and being is an emanation of it. We're one with it in the very word that is spoken in this moment. Is a vibrational frequency emanating from this sense of oneness. For each and every being here, unique emanations of the only life that there is. This word is a word of freedom and elimination of anything that would hinder, delay, obstruct, or deny the fullness of life from moving through us. As inspired wisdom that's transformed into speech and action. That we may not go and ascend into heaven, but we may bring heaven to earth. Not being ascended masters, but descended masters. Bringing the realm of ever-expanding good through our thought, our word, and our action. making a mighty difference on this planet, as Sadhvi Ji has already articulated. We give thanks for this and allow it to be so, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you to all of you so much for your wisdom, for your presence, for the consciousness that flows so beautifully through you. Thank you all for being here with us today. Please keep coming to these plenary sessions. They're such a powerful way for us to refine our consciousness and our group field in this way. So thank you very much. Oh, thank you.
Let's thank Kia for holding this beautiful space, asking the right questions.
Hi, I would like you to stay for 1 minute. I would like the presenters please to come here and look like this. We're going to take a picture with them and all of you on the back. Thank you.